on.
15 minutes of heat brought to you by Doral Kia, home of the Pricito, our lowest price. Visit them at Doral Kia or DoralKia.com. I didn't see much of the game, Solana. I was at the Marlins game. We were checking the score and looking at highlights every now and then. I'm imagining it was a deflating watch.
It was a deflating watch, yes.
A deflating watch as well.
It was a deflating watch. Here's the thing with that loss last night specifically. We've been hearing leading up to this game, this is an opportunity. And I don't think anybody actually thought the Heat, knowing the situation they were in, very unlikely that they wouldn't be a play-in tournament team. They had like a 1.4% chance according to the basketball index. So their fate was pretty much set. But yesterday, one game against the 7th seed in the East could just keep them alive. And Spo's talking about the opportunity with these 4 games. Tyler, Bam, everybody's talking about the opportunity with these 4 games. They're down 13 at halftime. They're down 18 going into the fourth quarter. And they scored 19 points in the fourth quarter. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when you're down 18 going into the fourth, and you only score 19 unless you hold that team to 1 point.
What happened to Bam last night? Obviously, I didn't see much of the game.
Overall, it's a tough matchup with the Raptors. It is. That's not an excuse. It is a tough matchup. They have a lot of length on the perimeter, but Bam shot the ball terribly.
Oh, I think I saw. He was like 1 of 12 or something.
2 of 13 he finished. Couldn't get
1 of 7 from 3 or something.
Couldn't get to the free throw line, and they were daring him to take threes. And Bam Adebayo yesterday, unlike when he scored 83, couldn't hit a three-pointer. The Raptors little Boyd the Miami Heat yesterday. And I'm sick of hearing about the opportunity because that's what we've been talking about. And when you're 0-10 against the Raptors, Magic, and Celtics this season, and your record against teams who are currently in a playoff position is brutal this year, 23-31 against teams that are going to be playing, as Barry Jackson wrote, beyond Sunday, the final day of the regular season, and you're 18-7 against teams that are 11 or 15 in each conference, gives you a pretty good indication you are who you are. And as much as I wanted to believe that this team had enough talent, and I still kind of do, for whatever reason, for whatever reason.
Well, there have been spates throughout the season where you're like, hey, this is kind of working.
I just had this conversation at Tires Plus with some guy, I forget his name. X's and O's or Jimmy's and Joe's. This is a Jimmy's and Joe's problem.
I can't imagine a worse conversation to have at Tires Plus.
Why you messing with my man? He wanted to have a basketball conversation. I gave him one.
Just can't
He had on a
imagine
Panthers sweatshirt. So we talked Panthers
worse.
for a little bit. Then we had that. And I was telling him the same thing I've been saying. We're not that talented.
Could you imagine those two topics with Crowder?
Cannot.
Y'all got people thinking I know sports, so I talk sports.
I can't argue with Crowder today, though. I've tried all season. I've tried to talk about, well, when Norm and Tyler, when they find synergy on the floor, and Bam and Khalil raise the ceiling, and Andrew Wiggins, who had a good game yesterday, Pella Larson, like I've tried Jaime Jaquez Jr. I've tried Hawk all season long because I genuinely thought this team would hit another gear. And at the most important part of the season, over the last 12 games, they've gone 2-10. They had 1 win against the 76ers, and they've beaten the Washington Wizards. Congratulations, a team that's actively trying to lose games. Hawk, I can no longer argue with Crowder's point as much as it goes against what I believe, because I do think they're talented. For whatever reason, this team fell apart. At the one part of the season, you can't fall apart.
Crowder asked yesterday, like, is that Spo's fault? Like, if you think the personnel is kind of there, then it has to lay somewhere.
X's and O's, Jimmy's and Joe's. We know Spo is a championship coach if you give him dogs. He doesn't have dogs. We argued for 2 weeks about Andrew Wiggins being the best defensive player in the world.
Best defensive wing.
What are we talking about?
Hey, he went 8 of 13 yesterday, 24 points.
Wiggs balled out a little
24, 5 and 4 of 7 from 3. I'll take that any day. Yeah, but it's just like, Tyler Hero yesterday had 3 attempts in the first half. Like, he finished the game with 8 attempts.
Right. Like, what are you doing?
What? How? And I'm not blaming Tyler, but how? And Norman Powell coming off the bench. I mean, this dude, since the All-Star break, has been a different
It's
guy.
bizarre.
A different guy. And I don't know if, the style of play, he just got worn down. It's possible. It looks that way. But Norman Powell's going to finish the game 4 of 12. These were must-win games yesterday. You finally have to take a stand. Be the team that's going to take the stand, that's going to win it in the mud. Find a way to win. They put up 95 points yesterday. Wildly frustrating. And yes, deflating, whatever you want to call it. That was bad yesterday because they stood no chance in a game, according to them, they had to win.
And remember, the line was 1.5. Like, this shouldn't have been blowout city.
Toronto's not that good. Like, they're good. Don't get me wrong. Toronto has some really good players. Brandon Ingram, he's a bucket. Scotty Barnes is really good. RJ Barrett cooks the heat every single time. But like Jakob Poeltl, 8 of 13, 17 points. Jakob Poeltl's been terrible this year. And he outplayed Bam Adebayo and Kel'el Ware. For whatever reason, this roster has fallen flat and it doesn't work. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's coaching. I lean another way, but I don't know.
I can't say it's coaching because I know Spo knows what he's doing. I've seen Spo win multiple championships.
But this team should be better than a 10 seed in the Eastern Conference. I know what you're saying. They don't have dogs. I'm not disagreeing with you. They don't have a superstar. They don't. So they can't compete with the Celtics and the Pistons right now and even the New York Knicks. Like, I'm not putting them in that conversation. You're telling me in a game they had to win, they lost by 26 points to the Toronto Raptors and Scotty Barnes and RJ Barrett and Brandon Ingram? Those guys aren't superstars either.
Where would Ingram? Where would Barrett? Where would Scotty Barnes? What's the other guy's name? Flocky Birdie? Where would he? Poeltl? Jakob Poeltl. Where would they land on our roster?
Starting 5.
100? Huh?
Starting
Seriously?
5.
No, yeah.
So you're talking about that talent where it's not great, and I'm with you. It's not great. RJ Barrett's not moving needles like that, but he'd move needles on this roster.